Hello guys, good morning. I am Prerana Srinivas from Sevens and Talent Solutions. Like from the past 2 to 3 months, we have been continuously training you on the various soft skill topics. Like today, we will have another soft skill topics that is like mind mapping. It's nearly 10. We will wait for some time so that you can ask your friends to join so that we can continue with the session. Okay. Okay, I think it's already 10:01. We are good to do. Good to go. I will start the session. Please ask your friends to join the session at the earliest so that. Okay, I think it's already 10:01. Okay, coming to the like agenda of today's topic, like what comes to your mind when you think of mind mapping? Like what are the things we'll be discussing? Like coming to the main agenda of today's topic, like concept of mind mapping as well as what are the steps that are needed to achieve that, and how we can implement that, and where we can apply those things, and we can think it practically whether we can apply to all the domains or where we can apply. We will see a practical example also in the today's session. Okay. Okay, what do you guys understand by the meaning of the word mind? I think you can definitely analyze it like mind mapping. What does it give you an idea? Like, what does you give it like? What do you understand by the word mind mapping? I think I had taken a session for you guys related to knowledge management like some ago. I think at that time I had informed you about mind mapping. I have not taken it like a whole session, but today we'll discuss mind mapping as a whole session. Like, what do you guys understand? Like, I had given an overview, like how we can do an mind mapping, where we can use those set of skills. Like, at least can I get a definition so that we can continue with the session? I'm expecting an answer from you guys for this. Just a simple word. What do you understand by though it's wrong? Just give me a definition so that we can continue with the session. Okay, I'm not getting a response. It is simple definition, guys. At least the definition. Though it's wrong, just give me. We are here to help you guys. So just give me the definition so that we can continue with the session. That in just 2 to 3 minutes. Using that skill is known as mind mapping. What is the advantage of mind mapping? Why do we need that? Is it really so necessary for us? Like mind mapping can be given like we can consider any for any single concept. Like I think you guys might have studied the carbon cycle and some other type of different like nitrogen cycle in your second year PUC or in your 10th exams like that. There we will see that like they would have drawn the circles on the page. They will give you the entire process will be represented in the single page. With the help of that, you will get the whole idea like how the cycle will happen. Like that is the main advantages of mind mapping. So is it really necessary for us? Like, can we implement it in every domain or in every concept, or how does it help us out? Is it really required? I'm expecting an answer, guys. At least an yes or no. So that we can take this session is interactive. It would be really good. Nearly 14 members are there and expecting an answer for a test. Whether it is required, really needed or not. Does it simplifies our work or it is a complicated one? At least an yes or no for this. Okay. I think the word mind mapping gives us an overall idea. We can idealize the concept with better way and in an easier manner than the past. And we can apply it to each and every domain. Okay. And we discuss the practical aspects in the coming slides. We'll give an overview of this, like why mind mapping is required. Coming to the overview, like concept of mapping, why it is required. The mapping is done only when you know the concept. Once you have understood the concept, when you got it, like you will be knowing nearly not like the 100% of the concept you'll be knowing, just like around. If you have the basic idea of that, you can make use of the concept of mind mapping, and you can pictorial representation can be done, and you can add the concept that will be attached to that. I like this is known as mapping, like thinking or like getting the concept, though you have got the concept in a not like complete manner, but the concept of mapping helps us to recall and get those in a fraction of seconds. That is really helpful. So mind mapping is really important. Okay, and coming to like why it is so attractive and all. I think some of you might have read like carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, and some of the other cycles are there that represents in biology. It had been there. Uh, I think it is easy to remember the whole cycle with that pictorial view rather than thinking on working on like biating or some might biat that because they might find it difficult. Okay, the arrows are going somewhere else. How do I remember that? They'll be biating the whole concept. Instead of that, we can use the mind mapping. Like that's why for the carbon and nitrogen cycles, they have given you like the mapping so that it is special technique and gives you the colored images makes it more interesting and easier for you guys to learn. So the concept of mind mapping is really important. So it is an important concept. Try to concentrate so that you can implement it to some other concepts in your daily life. Okay. Coming to the introduction, like at least can I have definition for this now? As I already mentioned you guys regarding what is mind mapping and all. Just the basic definition I am expecting. Like we can do the answer is wrong, no worries. At least a basic definition so that we can take the session further. Apart from the what is displayed on the screen. Okay. We'll move ahead. Like we have still a lot of things to cover. We can't just waste the time just by introducing it. So, like mind mapping is like visual representation of the things in an effective way, so that you can get the whole concept. Like you can use a blank space for that, and you can relate it like the related concept of that can be added like by the beside or by the back of it, so that and some words can be added and so like you can get the whole gist of that entire concept in just 2 or 3 minutes and you can also recall that it would be really helpful. So it is like mind mapping is really it is like a pictorial representation also we can calculate as a diagram also so that it gives a clear cut idea of how it works and what are the important things that needs to be remembered in that particular concept or particular cycle. So make sure that by using the mind mapping you will get those things. Okay. Like at least can anyone help me with the definition so that what does mind mapping refer? Like apart from the, I think you got the whole definition now. I think I can expect an answer at least for this. If you have not got the concept of noises, I can recall the same once again. Is it an yes or a no, guys? Okay, we'll at least give a response so that we can continue with the session. Like mind mapping is a unique skill. It is not been like most of you might have been not. Some of you might be knowing, but like most of them will be not using it. Like they'll be feeling that it will take time and it will consume more time rather than the other. Like instead of that, going with that, we can just simply get the concept and recall on our own. I think mind mapping is a unique technique. If you practice that over a period of time, I think you can definitely by using that concept you can shine and you can get the best results out of that. So mind mapping is really a unique technique. So try to implement it, and I will give you some ideas so that it would be easier for you guys to concentrate, and you can do the mind mapping in an effective way. Okay. Like by using the mind mapping, like we can have like innovative ideas. We can develop innovative ideas as well as we can get the creative solutions. We can set our goals, and we can give a new we can plan anything in a perfect way and we can run the meetings in an efficient manner and can deliver our best because we will be having an overall idea. Like mind mapping is like we will be thinking from the starting from the basics to the complicated one and we'll be getting the best out of that. So make sure that you plan everything. Sometimes you might plan, but implementing is rather more difficult than just planning. So mind mapping is like sketching the whole things on a sheet of paper or like visualizing it in an effective way so that you can also think about the outcomes as well as the you will get to know where I might go wrong so that you can think of the alternatives and you can perform well rather than the previous days and you can enjoy success in your life. Like if you implement mind mapping, it will be really helpful for you guys. Like in your test, you can use the mind mapping. Like if you're not getting any concept or if you're feeling really difficult to cope up with some of the concept, you can get it up. Like you can make a chart of that particular concept, and you can implement that into mind mapping so that you can easily recall that. It is an efficient and effective way because it reduces your time as well as it gives you confidence that whenever you say that you will get the whole concept in a fraction of seconds. So make sure that you do implement that. I will be helping you with the steps and how to create a mind map in the coming slides. Okay. Like and by using the time mapping, like one thing is for sure we can definitely reduce the time that is consumed. Like for the recalling and all, you can be really efficient and you can be really time save. It could really save your time. These are the things that it can be achieved by using the mind mapping. But coming to the term mind mapping, like why it was implemented and how, like Tony was the guy who had implemented the word mind mapping. Okay, it was introduced by like Tony Buzan who introduced the word like word of mind mapping. Why he introduced it as mapping itself? Because it is like just a map like you can use or you can add the branches that you need. You can picturize yourself like in the map you will be getting the different spots. You can in this mind mapping you can add different concepts that are there are related to some particular domain and you can maintain you can visualize you can think on your own thing and like you can make it like your own way like it is not like a oh you should make it in that way itself like and it depends on each and every guy. Each and every guy will be having his own thinking capacity. Based on that, he can do that. It would like it is an own set of skill. If you develop it in an efficient way, you can really see the results of that. And it has been implemented. Like most of them are been using the mind mapping as well. Like most of the engineers and educators are using mind mapping for their rather efficient teaching and to bring the best out of all of them. Okay. Like there for everything there are some certain steps like we cannot do everything without any random steps. We need to consider some of the steps like not to achieve anything we need to consider some of the steps like for mind mapping there are nearly 8 steps. Like what are those steps? Like do we need to do all those 8 steps or can we go with some of the steps? Is it necessary? Like do we need to have all the set of the steps to be implemented? Like that there will be a lot of doubts in your mind. Like
The steps that are mentioned here are really important because they give you a clear cut idea, like how to mind map, how to what are the initial to the basic steps to the complicated one. Like mind mapping, the first step. Like I will just mention the steps. Like center first is the first step, and like in that you will be like not thinking of the whole. Like you will be just thinking about the main domain that is going to we will be thinking on, and based on that concept we will add the other subtopics in that, and what are the things that needs to be done to achieve that, and how we can do that in an effective way. Okay, do you guys think like mind mapping is really needed or not? Like why it is needed? Though we already have got the basic knowledge of the concept, we can just read by with some reference books or with the help of the modern era. We can get it the information from anywhere, like from the internet and all. We can get the information. Then why do we need mind mapping? Is it really important? Just a question from my side. I'm expecting an answer at least for this one because I had spent like near 15 minutes for the explaining what is mind mapping, and now we have come for the steps of mind mapping. So is it an yes or a no? Do we really require that? It is like requirement depends on each individual's thinking. From my perspective, I think it is really required for you to improve. If it is not done, you might get the possible result, but it will be really better if you implement that. Okay. And coming to the first step, I just mentioned the steps at the beginning. Then we will discuss it in like a brief in some time. Like the first step is the center first. Like we'll make ensure that the whole topic, like the main domain or the topic that will be written in the center. Like for any, we'll go with an example in some time, and lightening up, like we can add on some things, like we can make the branches, and like we can then comes to step three, like associating with that, like adding the free associates for that lightening up. And like in mind mapping, what's important is like thinking on that particular concept, like thinking on that and working on that. Though you might not be like you might sit blank for some time, what is the next thing I need to add to remember it in an effective way. You might think try to give at least a work to her hand and try to continuously write someone or the other thing on the sheet of paper, so that you might not think too much on that. Because when you are working on something, I think when you're mind mapping, I think you'll be more concentrated than any other in any other random work. Okay, and try to break the boundaries, like you need not to follow certain steps. Like if a friend is doing it in a different way, no issues, like he can do it in his own way, but try to make it like in your way, because each one will be having his own grasping power. Some might have like really good grasping, and they require really like 4 to 5 what we can say sketches on the pages, like 5 circles. They can remember the whole thing. You guys don't think of others, just be know yourself. You will be knowing your best rather than anyone else. Think of your own and try to develop it and try to make it in your own way rather than just copying. If your friend has done a mind mapping from particular concept, don't do the same one, because he has thought his understanding capacity is different. He has got the basics in a different way, and if he has understood in a more effective way, then he will be not more concentrating on all the like concept that needs to be there. He will just he will just mention the main point, so that on the basis of that he can recall the better way. And don't judge like okay please whether this step is right or wrong. If you are remembering that by that particular, if you are some writing some keyword itself, make it in your own way. Don't like judge yourself by when you're mind mapping itself, because it is a negative, it might give a negative feel that this is not there itself, then why I'm writing this. Because when you're writing that, you'll be definitely thinking of one or the other concept that is there in that particular domain. You'll be getting the best idea. So make sure that don't judge yourself and don't get a negative thought on yourself, and keep moving. Like in mind mapping, what happens is like sometimes you'll be out of ideas. Like what are the other things that needs to be there so that I can get it in an efficient way. Like don't be blank. Try to write one or the other thing, so that after writing the entire thing, when you check it out once, you'll remember the whole thing. So give the work to your hands, and so that you can get it in, and like you do the mind mapping in an efficient way. And like coming to the last step, and allow like give the connections immediately. As you can add many sub branches as your wish, and create and give and take up your own ideas of remembering that. It would really help you guys. Okay, these are the 8 steps that needs to be there in the mind mapping. Like I just mentioned the steps, we will go in deep with the like how we can start it up, and how we can take it further. Okay, and coming to step one, like the center first. As I mentioned earlier, like what will be there in center first? Like we can take any random example. Like we can take the example of our like most of you will be assessed on a continuous basis. Like your exams will be definitely be approaching. We'll be having some one or the other assessments going on a continuous basis. What we can do is like we can plan it for that. We'll plan like for a test itself. Like we'll mind map. We'll mind map. Like at the first, what we will be doing? Like what is the main important thing in any random test or in the assessments? Like you can make the you can write the word test or the assessment in the center of the page. You can that is the main thing. And like if you are thinking of some particular concepts in geometry or some mathematics, you can write that in the basic in the center of the page. Okay, and then comes to the like oh the main thing should be referred. We can take the example of the assessment itself. The assessment, the dates are really important. Mention the dates of that. Okay, like from we can take an example like from 27 to 30th are your exams. You will write the dates like 27, 28, and 29. Okay, some might be having the difficulty with remembering the dates itself. So some might not forget that when you make it a mind mapping. Okay, and coming to the second step, like lightning up. What do you understand by lightning up? Lighting up is nothing but then thinking on your own, bringing up your own ideas. Like from the dates that are been mentioned for the assessment, you can draw or like you can think of that like you can plan for the whole test year. Like otherwise, you can just make the schedule, or we can plan what are the cons that needs to be done. Like lightning up, or like if 27th, or you can take the exam 28th itself. 28th, you are having an exam on mathematics. You can make it up like lightning up. You can make there 28th or having a mathematics exam. You can write it up there. Then what the mathematics exam? What are the preparation that needs to be done? Like what are the concept for how much marks? What is the marks that I am targeting? What are the concept that has been that would be asked in the coming assessment or some the coming test. You can write those things in that area. You can divide it into three or how many parts. Like if you are having eight subjects, you can divide that into 8 parts. You can divide the from the center first, like that mention the dates, and you can divide that into 8 parts. Like on each day, what are the like assessment that are being performed, and what are the things that needs to be, what was a particular domain on which the test is being conducted. You can divide that. Okay, in the lightning up you can make it in the own way. Some we can take on an example of like apart from that assessment, what is the example we can take up? Like if you are going for shopping, like we can take an example of that. Sometimes you might forget one or other thing in the your shopping list, though you make the list. Some of them will be not having the habit of making the list of that, because they feel that I will remember everything, but when they return back, they feel that okay, I have forgotten one thing. So we can mind map that also. Like in that initially, like center, center first, we will choose a destination where we'll go for the shopping, and like the commodities that are needed. Like what are the basic requirements? You can mention that in the mind mapping, like vegetables, like in lightning up areas, we can stapling foods that are required meals. We can uh, we can take up fruits as well as some beverages. Like these are the things. Like we are not going in depth at the beginning itself. Like we will choose a destination, then we will choose a like what is in the vegetables. There are a lot of things that needs to be covered. Like we can buy carrot, we can take beetroot and all. And coming to the staple foods, like we can butter, milk, and bread. These things will be coming under that. Then you'll be not forgetting it easily. Okay, these like this lighting up depends on you can make many examples on your own. I've just given you two examples of that, how we can implement that. And coming to the step three, what is the step three? Like, what does it mean free associate? What do you guys do in that? Like, oh, you had decided the dates and you had mentioned the which topic or the day, which topic, what subject will be there. How do you, what is the next thing that you want to do? Just a random question. Though it's wrong, no issues. Try to answer that so that we can continue with the session. Like, what will you do? Like, think, just give a thinking. Like, you are having an exam on 28 tomorrow. That is 28th. Okay, you had mentioned the subject. You know the subject as like social science. Like you written that in the lightning up area. Okay, in this area you already written that on 28th I am having an exam on social science. Okay, this thing is already done. Then what will you guys you add in this area, like in the free associate? What are the things that you need? You will add and expect an answer so that we can continue the session. Like general guys, what if you are having the test? What are the things that you will do that you will do on the day behind that? Like if you are having exam tomorrow, today, what are the things that you will do? It? How will you plan? And expecting an answer, at least I will give 30 seconds of time for this. Just a random answer, like easy, easy guys. That's an easy one. Like what will you? How will you prepare for your exams or assessments? You're done with nearly 20 seconds, guys. Expect an answer at least for this. Easy way. Like just what you'll mention, guys. Think of that. It's not a rocket science. Like what is the thing that you do before attending any test or examinations, or like if you go for shopping list, you thought of like I will bring some vegetables that will be mentioned in the lightning up. Then water will be coming out of vegetable, different types of vegetables like beetroot, as I mentioned earlier. Like you'll be thinking on that, and you want those. You would, if you don't want to forget, you will be writing up those, right? If you are facing any assessment, if you the mention like we can take any other example, like if you have any other subject, like okay, we'll take an example of mathematics itself. If you're having that exam for tomorrow, like you will write here like the concept that needs to be covered for that particular subject for tomorrow's session. Oh sorry, for tomorrow's exam. Like what are the things, like I need to like you will be knowing the marks breakup if you are having the examination for 100 marks. Let us take an example, just a random example I'm explaining guys. If you are having the sorry, if you're having the test for nearly or the assessment for 100 marks, you'll be breaking it up like for like what we can say, for algebra you'll be having 30 marks, and for writing or deriving the theorems you'll be having 25 to 30 marks. You'll be writing those things here. Like oh, okay, I have to like 30 marks I can gain by reading algorithms, 30 marks by the using of by deriving theorems, and 30 marks by the graphs. Okay, and then for the 10 marks I'll be having some of the or some what we can say like fill in the blanks type of the questions based on the things that will be covered. Okay, we will write those things. Okay, after writing that, what is the next step, guys? You will do like in the free associates. What you will get an option is like you can make the sub branches like you wish. Like you can expand your ideas. Like what are things I need to do? Okay, this is the major step because you need to add the things that you need to do. Otherwise, it is like it gives you an effective idea like how to plan. I have nearly 30 marks. If you mention it here, like if I am going to gain 30 marks by deriving the theorems, you'll feel like more confident. Okay, I can easily get 30 marks, which is the nearly up to the passing marks. Okay, I will concentrate on that first. Then I'll go into the next one. That is what is like sub branches. Like if theorems, what are the different? Like in the theorems, you'll be definitely having like 5 to 10 theorems. Out of that, there will be nearly 3 to 4, which will be definitely been asked. You can write those here. Okay, if you get at least 2 to 3 out of 4, you will be easily scoring 20 to 25 marks. Then it gives you a self confidence that I can do that. So try to do those things. Okay, these are things like you can add the branches, you can think. It depends on each individual. Like some might think that I have no doubt regarding the theorems, I will just rather 100 marks is for the test, I will plan it according like in the weak zone they will just mention their weak zone also. Like algebra I am lacking, I need to consider more, they will divide in the algebra what are things that needs to be done by me. So mind mapping depends on each individuals and how they do. It's really important so that you only sit and think on your positives as well as your pros and cons, and based on that you do that. Okay, coming to the next thing, like why do you need to think fast? What is this? Is it so necessary? Like I will take nearly 3 hours to do mind mapping itself. Is it effective? If anything is taking a lot of time, like it is taking, if you are spending too much of time, do you think it is really effective? Is it effective, guys? If you are doing any work by taking a lot of time, you're investing your energy as well as your precious time, and you're wasting like time is more precious than anything. Is it really efficient if you are wasting time and doing those things? First thing is like when you are planning for anything or you are mind mapping, you will be like when you uh, up to certain extent you will be knowing everything. What happens is like when you come like after like 2 to 3 minutes you'll be really writing everything down, like the tomorrow's the test, the things you need to concentrate. You will write for how much marks exams is going there, and then comes like you'll be blank for some time. Okay, tomorrow's exam, okay, I've written that marks I have mentioned, areas to concentrate I have mentioned. Then comes like what I need to do, what is other things that I need to concentrate. Sometimes writing up top is not so efficient. Make some certain like unique type, try to be unique, not that like you can make some symbols. You can like for a theorem you can like theorems are definitely will be easy because you have to rewrite the same things. You can write some like if you like thinking fast, like here some way, or you can mention it your own way. I have done it on my way, like how I feel efficient. What you will use like in this area, like I will mention the thing like the important formulas that will be coming in the algebra, and based on that how much marks, like I will use my own shortcut for the particular concept. If sorry, yeah, for the particular concept I will be thinking that okay, these are the formulas. If I concentrate on these formulas I will definitely get 4 to 5 questions. If I am getting 4 to 5 questions, it is good. If I learn these formulas once and I am already knowing the concept, it will make me more efficient, and the time will be saved because the formulas will not be, you will be getting the whole set of the formulas in this session itself. You can idealize if you are, you can mention it in the short term like how you remember. Okay, instead of sometimes you need to search for the whole formulas in the whole book, rather than if you do the mind map, you can mention the whole, like if you are having around 20 formulas you can write it here so that you can easily at one shot you can get all the 20 formulas. You'll be definitely knowing the concept if you're knowing the formula. Sometimes what is like that, if you do some mistakes in the formulas itself, though you might know the concept, if there is any random mistake in the plus or minus sign, you will be definitely not reaching the solution that is expected. So make sure that you remember, for remembering those things, write it in your own way and try to possibly try to use the keywords instead of writing the whole what again, whole formulas. Okay, this is the important thing because it saves your time. Is it an efficient way? So got an response from Ali. Okay. Oh, good morning. Sorry. Okay, good morning, Ali. I think you are late for the session. Nearly half of the class is done. We are done with 35 minutes of the class. Okay, still though you joined. Okay, I think Ali, I was discussing about mind mapping. You missed nearly half part. Okay, at the end, I will just give you the brief, like what are the things that needs to be done because some most of our joining now. Okay, I'll just recall the things because some of them have joined now. Like in the mind mapping, what I can say like that I was mentioning earlier is like the center first is the thing. Like if you are planning for any exams, I will give just a briefing that because some of them are joined now. Center first is the thing where if you're having any random exams, you can will write the particular dates of that exams and lighting up. You will think of that like you will think on to after tomorrow is your exam. Like what is the exams like tomorrow 28th. Mathematics is the subject or the social science or some other government exams I'm having. You will write it up here and coming to the like in like what we can say in lighting up you will be adding some branches like if you're facing some any government exams or public exams you'll be definitely though you're prepared you'll be definitely making that some of the marks will be definitely for the constitution like nearly I can score 30 marks you'll mention that here and coming to the sub branches or like in the constitution what are the things that needs to be like for the preamble and all like and the articles numbers and the PAL numbers. These are things that you need to consider particular things. Okay, this will be mentioned there. And coming to the this will be coming under the free associates. Like what are the things that needs to be done. Okay. And coming to the thinking fast, like you have done all the things that needs to be thought and needs to be prepared. And coming to the thinking fast is the area where you will mention the whole thing that is required. You will be making it like not remembering the whole thing. You will just mention the article 371 or 371J like that and mention that when was it implemented and what are things that were done and what are the new things that was about the change. Okay, these things will be mentioning in thinking fast because thinking fast is nearly needed. Okay, no issues, Lido, you're late. Just try to concentrate on the session. I just briefed you regarding the 4 steps of mind mapping. We'll go ahead. And like breaking the boundaries, like why it is needed, why we should need to break the boundaries and all. Like certain set of like for doing one thing I had taken the class previously like for making the reports and all like there we can't break the borders so you can't say that I will be making the report in my own way. I will not make the borders. I will not align it correctly. I will use different fonts as any particular page and I will not include the acknowledgement page. I will not write the conclusion. These things cannot be done in like in the writing reports and all in the previous session what I mentioned. Like today's session, like mind mapping depends on each individual and how they can do it in an effective way. Like you can use your own ideas. This is the thing where you can explore yourself and where you can find yourself because finding yourself and exploring the pros and cons is really important in mind mapping. So make sure that don't follow any random pattern like what my pattern might be efficient for me. Don't think that we have to follow the same pattern. I'm just giving an idea overall briefing like I am effective in this. I am effective. I will make a mind mapping if given a chance like in this manner. I will be like in the breaking the boundaries what we can see is like we can use the crayons, we can use multiple paper if you wish. Otherwise what we can say you can use the different inks if you are like what we can say we are thinking we have taken the example of the test and all we will be writing the formulas and all like here we will be mentioning like some of the important formulas and based on that every individual year the question will be definitely be there on the particular formula in the algebra. You will mark that and highlight that with some crayons or some highlighter because when you see that he'll not forget that okay I need to concentrate more on that particular topic because every year on the same topic on the same formula the question is I can easily get 5 to 6 marks from that. It's an easy scoring zone so make sure that if you mark that when you see in the whole bunch you might not feel that okay I have remembered everything but you when you are with the 20 or formulas you might not remember it easy when it is highlighted in the top front it will be really easy for you guys to get the best and you will not forget that easily so make sure that you do that. Okay, and coming to like the step 6, the important one, though I have done all the things that needs to be done, what are the things I need to prepare, what are things I need to look into. And like sometimes you will judge yourself like okay I have sometimes what some guys will do is like they'll spend nearly 2 to 3 hours in mind mapping itself in the previous day of the test. Mind mapping should be done like not like 2 to 3 days earlier to the exams, or like 1 week. You should plan it. Mind mapping should be done at the earliest stage itself, like when you are entering into some, if you want to take, if you're preparing, when you start preparing itself from the day one, try to use the mind mapping, go through the papers. We will take, as we are taking an example of the test that is being conducted or the assessment, go through the previous papers, look into that, and what are the major things that needs to be given more importance. Look into that, those things, and come back to the do the mind mapping on the first date rather than leaving it to till the end, because doing mind mapping at the end is like waste of your time as well as not so efficient. So make sure that if you do it earlier itself, you will be clear cut, though you might forgot like what are the concepts that I need to prepare after 1 or 2 months. If you had written those things in a sheet of paper and mind mapped in a really effective way, once you look that, you might not spend the nearly the 2 hours what you have spent in preparing that. You will get to know that in maximum of 2 to 3 minutes. So time will be saved. One thing. Another thing is like you will get the confidence that these, though you might feel that the syllabus is heavy, like if when you come for when you're preparing for any exams, you will definitely see the books number of pages. But when you see the mind map, it will give you a different perspective for you guys. You will think that okay, these are things that need to consider. It is a very easy way. I will just look into the formulas and the things, like what are things I have prepared. It will give you like more interest, as well as it will give you self satisfaction that I have done something in the past days, so that I might perform really well. Okay. And like sometimes what is coming back to the steps, like judging. Sometimes what you will see like that you will judge yourself at the in the later stages. Like okay, I done these things, but I am thinking, you will think of yourself whether the mind map done by me is so efficient that I can rely upon that itself, or should I go with some other things that my friend is suggesting. Like try to understand one thing: you are the one who will be facing the exams, and you will be knowing the best. Based on that, you have prepared a mind map for you, particularly for you. If you are going against that, or if you want, if you're thinking in a negative way, don't worry, try it once. You will definitely if you are going wrong, you will get the results. But don't think in a negative way, rather than be positive and be self-confident, because it will really help you out. Being self-confident at the end time should, it will really help you out. Make sure that you don't judge yourself sometimes based on by seeing others mind maps and all, there by how they are. Okay, that was thing I need to explain. Like some sometimes you might judge that okay, he is doing like yeah, that he is referring that he is using some other like idea. Don't depend on some unrelated matters, like they might thinking on their disadvantages and planning on that thing. So make sure that you plan like you are planned, like you will be knowing the best. You will be knowing what you are and which concept you are really strong. Based on that, you do the plan. Okay, keep moving. Like why do you want to keep moving? Like why need to be, why it is required? Why moving on is required, guys? Why it is required? Is it really like, oh, what happens is like sometimes you plan like what are the things that you need to read. You made the formulas list, you are prepared, and you got the result. You will see the results of the assessment. Okay, you might have achieved some, let us say 60 to 70%. You will not, sometimes you might feel satisfied. Okay, I have got that. Sometimes you might feel like, oh, it's not so up to my mark. I had done better. I should have done. Okay, I had planned to get 80 or 85. I not got that. At the time, you can like these things you should mentioned here, because keeping a track of everything and following it up is really important. Because if you are not following it up, like if you're thinking that I will not follow it up, it will be not be really good, because at the end, the results what you will be getting are really important rather than the things or the hard work that you had done. So make sure that you follow it up. Okay, try to keep the empty lines for that. Like mention that on particular day I attended that, I got this. By seeing that, sometimes you might feel bad, but we can't help it that. try to give more effort and try to work on the things that you have missed out in the first. If by following it up, you will get the better idea, because you will definitely get to know the strong zone, because you have answered some of the questions that have been asked. And coming to the next, where you are lacking, you will definitely get to know. Based on that, you can reuse or you can mention those in that particular space that is given here. Okay, the random empty lines. Okay, I think you guys got. Coming to the the last step. Okay, at least help me with the last step. What was the last step I had mentioned earlier? I explained. I had earlierly informed you guys regarding the eight. There are only eight steps. At least mention what is the last step. Coming to the last one. Okay, we'll go left with nearly just 15 to 20 minutes. We'll go ahead. Or the last step, what we will do is we can add some of the more other ideas that are related to that if you are preparing for any exams. Allow the other allowing organizations. What we can say is if you're preparing some particular exams, you will be concentrating on the constitution of India. In some other particular exams, you can see the same topic is being repeated. What I can see is we can add that to the same, because it will give a lot of more opportunities, as well as it will give we can add that into that space that is given there. By giving that, you will get to we can prepare for both others simultaneously, and you can get more opportunities. If the opportunities will be definitely there for each and everyone, making use of that in an effective way is really important. Okay, these are the things that needs to be mentioned in a mind map, and how you can plan, how you can get the best, how you can save your time, how we can plan yourself. These things I had explained you in the eight steps that is given. And don't feel like mind mapping should be done in the mind itself. And the major thing is some of them are feeling that the mind mapping refers to doing the map in the mind itself. I'll plan in my mind and implement it directly. I will not write it on a sheet of paper itself. No, that's not an efficient way. Try to write it in a sheet of paper, because though you might be able to recall all the things at that particular point of time, what happens is in the coming 1 or 2 months, or still you when you're left with a lot of time to your examinations, or some assessment on particular topic, you might forget, because you will be having some other, you will be daily, you will be concentrating on one or other things. Human tendency is to forget that. So make sure that the thoughts that were there on the particular day, transfer it to the sheet of paper, so that if you forget also, when you see that or glance it, when you have the free time, or after 1 or 2 months, you will get a clear cut picture. Or these are the things that needs to be looked on. This is the things, important things, where I can score the marks easily. What are the things I need to look into up on the last day? What are the things I need to more consider? What are the most repeated things? You will get the overall idea in a short period of time. So write it on a sheet of paper, rather than simply thinking on that. Oh, I will get the best out of it. Okay. And one other example, this is an example mind map, how the commercial use of trees gives us the fruits as well as the wood. And by the fruits, some of them will fetch the money, some will get the nutrition from that, and from the wood they will be using it for carpentry work and building the houses, and it will be some it will be used for the fuel, and it will be used for making the furniture. If the guy is growing some trees, or if he's having his own plantation, he will definitely think of all the things. Okay, if he wants to buy, he can eat the fruits that will be there. He will mind map himself that he will be getting the money from that. He will get the nutrition. He can, however, survive. These sort of things, how the mind mapping works. Just a random example. Okay, apart from the examples that I have given. And the shopping list, as I mentioned, first you mention the center up, and the other things that needs to be given more importance, like vegetables. The vegetables, what you need to buy, potatoes and mangoes and all staple food, that what you need to buy. If you are not making an habit of making a shop, at least sometimes you'll be forgetting one or the other thing. For that, you can use a mind map. Like So what are the staple things that you need to buy, like eggs or things, butter, milk, and bread? Like what are the meals like you want, and what are different types of the fruits that you need? You can, if you remember, like if you for not having a clear cut idea, want to buy only potatoes, you will just not remember it easily. Like if you do the mind mapping in this type way, in this fashion, it will be really helpful to get all the things, and you will not forget anything. Okay. And coming to the benefits of mind mapping, what are the benefits, guys? Like by the mind mapping, as I already given an example, like it gives us a more describe, more interesting and entertaining. It will give us a more clear cut idea by rather seeing any like schedule or something. If you do the shopping list in the written format, also sometimes we might miss out one or the other thing. It gives us like more interest, and what we can say, it will be really effective for us to deal with anything. Mind mapping is, it is a basic benefit. Like it will give us an easy access, like we'll not forget is the one thing, and we can recall everything in an early way and in like in a very short span of time. These are some of the benefits of mind mapping. Okay. Like sometimes what like there is different types, like concept mapping is also important. Mind mapping, what we can say, the concept maps, like in the concept maps focus only on the ideas, concepts, and the multiple words. Like in the concept maps, what we do is like that. Oh, just a minute, yeah. Like in the concept maps, you'll be connecting one concept with the another. You'll be not just dealing with the one concept. You'll be interconnecting one concept with the another. Like if you are deriving one theorem, if it is having any connection with the theorem too, you can mention that there in the concept mapping. But basically try to implement the mind mapping, because concept mapping might feel difficult for you guys at the initial stage. That's why. But if you are now doing go really well with the mind mapping, then you can go with the concept mapping. Otherwise, sometimes you might find it difficult to relate. But you can try give a shot at also once. Like concept mapping is also really efficient. Okay, concept mapping you can use, but what I can say is like when you're planning for a long term, or like for the final exams, then you can implement the concept mapping, because it will be really helpful when you are connecting one thing with the other. It will become a long chain, and you will get a clear cut idea of everything in and you will not easily forget your one or the other thing. Okay, like concept mapping is also really important. We'll have some session on that also in the coming time. Like mind maps and the what is the phases are assessing the phase, diagnosing, these are the what like mind maps helps us to give a clear cut idea. It is an efficient way to deal with the things, and it will help us to evaluate itself and the planning, implementing, and assessing the phase where we are and how we are going, and we are on the right track. It will give us an overall idea of all these things. Okay, and coming to the other mind map, like this is a bigger one. Okay, coming to the health, which is the major or which is required for all. What we can say is like stress will be there in this mind map. We can see lot of things is going on in our daily life. Biggest mind map we can do or we can follow in order to maintain our health. We will definitely need to do the exercises. We'll be having a lot of stress. For that, we need to think of solutions. What are the causes for that particular stress, and what are the effects? For that solution, how we'll overcome, like by doing yoga, meditation, and all, setting goals. Like some of will be having stress because thinking of their future. So we need to get a solution. Like we need to think of our goals. Okay, and what we can say, like for the exercises, for us to be healthy, we need exercises regularly. Warming up, we can do bicycling, treadmilling, going to gym and all. Okay, and coming to if you are having really difficulty, like you will consult a doctor or nutrition, and coming to the diet, if you are maintaining a diet, like what are the things you need to look into that are mentioned here, and like Coming to the sleep, another important thing that is needs to be, if you have to want a healthy life, 30%, like this is a major important, like some of you will be having some like concentration issues and all. Try to do some more exercises, and some of you really diet freaks, they will be having their own diet. They can plan it, like in a diet there will be what are things that they will eat, they will do that into sub branches like the fruits, like, and the wide variety of fruits, and some if you are dieting you will be definitely required of some of the vitamins, because you will be not taking so much of nutrition. You will get to, you will make sure that you will get those by using some other beverages and vegetables. Okay, this is the big mind map how to maintain a healthy life. Okay, think you guys got that. Like how mind mapping helps, all that, like all those things have been mentioned here. Like it helps you improve your memory and comprehension without concept mapping. Sometimes yeah, it definitely improves your memory, because when you say those things on a continuous manner, you will not forget it easily, and your memory will be really boosted. And like you can plan everything in effective way, and you can get better results, and what we can say, you can do it in an efficient manner than the previously what you had done. And like it will give you a new thought, and it helps you stay motivated, because if you're doing the things in a right and efficient manner, you will get the best results, and the results are going good. You'll not feel the stress, and when the stress is not there, I think everything is in hand and you will be happy, and the whole like what I can say, everything will goes fine, and you will be really like happy for the, if you're happy, then that's the last thing that you want to have in your life. Okay. And like coming to the applications where we can apply mind mapping, like in the meetings, presentations, in every way, we can apply mind mapping. Like if you are in a student life, you can use a mind mapping for your like test assessments and for your concepts, and how to prepare for the some particular concept in the meetings, like how we need to plan, who will be giving us the links, at what time we need to start, at what time we need to schedule, at which time the client should join. These are things that we can mind map in the meeting, we can implement that in there also. And coming to the presentation, like we can have a mind mapping there also, like at what time it will start, who will be presenting, and is the presentation everything is ready, is it having the connection is right, whether we are having the backup if he backs out, all those things that needs to be there, we can mind map in the mind or by in the presentation and mind map. And coming to the strategic planning, when you are planning any strategy, you have definitely thought of the backup things and all. And coming to taking notes, you can implement, like if you're taking sometimes taking notes, what we in our like schools and all, what they say we need to take the same notes. But sometimes running notes, what we can say, when we are attending any sorry, when we are attending any session, we can take a running notes, taking notes in for in our own way, that is that will be really helpful for us, because we can get the whole thing in some short duration, short duration. And in the SWOT analysis also, we can implement, or we can play mind mapping. And apart from the things mentioned here, like where are the other things that in our daily life, if you're planning to go for exercise and all, we can mind map that also. If the in event management is other thing there where we can mind map. Event management is a big thing that is having. If you are really good in that, I think you can make good money from event managing and all. And other things like problem solving, you can solve the problems efficiently, because when you're mind mapping, you definitely get the root cause. We can do that in a reverse way also, like the mind mapping helps us to find the root cause of the issue as well, because when you're doing all the things, you're thinking of each and every thing and the action that you are doing, you're definitely finding out the root cause. If you are finding out the root cause of that particular issue, we can definitely, if we can efficiently deal with the problem solving at all. Okay. And coming to the project management, yeah, in my managing the project is an important thing, like for whatever, like the for the oh shit the like for managing any project, we're definitely having mind maps,
These are the areas or the domains where we can see mind mapping has played an important role. Okay, I think you guys got the application how to make a mind map for your tests and all, and how to do that and how to prepare for any exams. Okay, I think we're completed with our session. Thank you guys for the patient listening from the past 1 hour. I will paste the feedback as well as the attendance form so that please fill that in the chat box. I will be pasting that. Guys, please attend the session at the mentioned time so that if you're joining in the middle, you might not get the entire concept. Thanks for the session, guys. Please fill the feedback as well as attendance form, which is being pasted in the chat box. Thank you guys for the patient listening. Please join the session earlier at the mentioned time so that you can get the entire concept of that particular soft skill topic. And please build the feedback as well as the attendance sheet.